Good morning. We will start with another chapter of economics of SY BCom. And this is our second module, and the name of the chapter is effective demand or the determinants of effective demand. Let's start with the chapter. Before starting with the effective demand, we have to understand, we have to know that this effective demand has been divided into two parts. One is the aggregate demand, another is the aggregate supply. This aggregate demand and the aggregate supply is the part of macroeconomics. Last time whatever we had studied, that is also a part of macroeconomics. In SY we are only having the part of macroeconomics. Let's start with the aggregate demand. Last year we had studied about the demand, that is an individual demand, that is a part of microeconomics. Micro means small, but in macroeconomics we have to study in general, and we have to study about the whole economy as a one part. We don't have to bifurcate all the parts. We don't have to divide the part into small parts. We have to study as a in general study, or we have to study as a whole economy. So that is, this aggregate demand is a part of macroeconomics. Aggregate demand means what? Demand means what? When the price of a product decreases when the price of the product decreases in the economy, that means the demand for that product will be increases in the economy. So as against, when the price of the product increases in the economy, the demand for that product will be decreases. This is the part of individual demand, but here we are studying of the aggregate demand. Demand means what? Demand means actual purchasing. Here in the aggregate demand refers to the sum total of all demand for various goods and services demanded in the country at different price during a given period of time, normally a year. मतलब ये सेंटेंस का ये है कि एक साल के अंदर how much goods and services has been demanded in our economy within a year. कि इसमें कोई particular sector को लोग consider नहीं किए. They had considered all sector, like if suppose अगर वो primary sector हो, चाहे वो secondary sector हो, चाहे वो manufacturing, चाहे वो tertiary sector हो, तो जो भी sector से जितना भी goods और services produce होगा, और that will be actually sale in the market, and after that whatever the income will be created in our economy, that will be considered as a aggregate demand. So that's why they had mentioned over here, it is a total amount which the people in the economy are willing to spend on the purchase of various consumption and capital goods during a given period of time. कि एक साल के अंदर कितना जितने भी हमारी जो जनरल पब्लिक है, whatever they are spending on the various goods and services and on the capital goods during a given period of time, कि एक साल के अंदर कितना उन लोग गुड्स और सर्विसेज परचेज करते हैं, चाहे वो हमारा हाउस होल्ड का गुड्स हो, कंजम्पशन का प्रोडक्ट हो, या तो फिर कैपिटल गुड्स हो, तो उसके ऊपर पूरे साल के अंदर जितना भी हम लोग परचेसिंग पे पैसा स्पेंड करते हैं, तो दैट इज नथिंग बट द एग्रीगेट demand. So in the aggregate demand, for calculation of aggregate demand, we have to consider the consumption function, we have to consider the investment function, we have to consider the government expenditure, and the last one is the X minus M. X means export and M means import. That means net earning from the foreign exchange. Here in consumption expenditure, we will consider, maybe it will be for the household consumption expenditure, or maybe it is for the capital goods. In the household, what we will consider, like in the household necessity products हो, food हो, cloth हो, shelter हो, house हो, car हो, education हो, health service हो, etc. But in the capital goods, what we will consider कि capital goods, अभी देखो, if suppose अगर मेरे को business start करना है, that means I have to purchase some raw material, or I have to invest my money in the business. So whatever the spending I will made on the capital goods, that is nothing but the considered in the consumption expenditure. That is also a part of the consumption expenditure. Next is the investment expenditure. This investment expenditure is dependent on the rate of interest. If suppose अगर मेरे को कहीं पे बिजनेस स्टार्ट करनी है, दैट मीन्स आई विल रिक्वायर फाइनेंस, आई विल रिक्वायर मनी. फ्रॉम वेयर आई विल गेट दिस मनी? तो देयर आर वेरियस इंस्टीट्यूट हु विल प्रोवाइड मी दी मनी फॉर दिस. तो ये इस पार्ट में कैसा होगा इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर में, कि आई विल बोरो मनी. इफ सपोज अगर मुझे वहां पर रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट अगर एकदम लो मिला, दैट मीन्स माई इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर विल बी मोर. और इफ सपोज अगर मेरा rate of interest will be high, the people will not borrow more and more money, and the investment expenditure will be less. That is also a part of aggregate demand. Then the government expenditure, whatever the government will do an expenditure on the government consumption expenditure हो, चाहे वो तुम्हारा पेमेंट टू द गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय हो, इंटरेस्ट पेड करना है अगर गवर्नमेंट को जो भी लोन बोरो किया है, या फिर डिफेंस एक्सपेंडिचर पे expense करना हो, that is considered in government consumption expenditure. And the next part is the government investment expenditure. If suppose अगर government कोई social purpose के लिए अगर अपना पैसा invest कर रही है, that means if suppose अगर government investment expenditure means what? Government are doing an expenditure on the capital goods like roads हो, rail हो, public building हो, dams हो, canal हो, power generation plant हो, education हो, institute हो, etc. So whatever these kinds of expenditure will be considered in government expenditure, and this is also part of aggregate demand. And the last one is X minus M. Always remember our export should be greater than our import. If suppose अगर हमारे import ज़्यादा हुए और export अगर हमारे कम हुए, that means we will run in the deficit balance of payment. So in this case कि अगर हमारे export ज़्यादा हुए, that means we will earn more foreign exchange by the export of goods and services. So that's why always we are telling our export should be greater than our import. Let's start with the aggregate demand function. That is, here I had mentioned the aggregate demand schedule. So this aggregate demand function is dependent on the level of employment, that is level of income. That means that's why they had mentioned AD, aggregate demand is equal to function of N. N means what? Income. N means employment. So here let's start with the schedule. When my level of employment is 0, my aggregate demand, my actual purchasing in the economy will be 100. These all the figures are mentioned in the crores and level of employment in the lakhs. So when my level of employment is 0, that means my aggregate demand is 100. What does this figures indicate? Mera income to 0 hai, then also my aggregate demand is 100. Why like this? Because if suppose अगर हमारे इकोनॉमी में लेवल ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट 0, then टू पब्लिक को कहीं ना कहीं से गुड्स और सर्विसेज परचेस करके अपने नेसेसिटी प्रोडक्ट्स लाइक फूड, क्लोथ एंड शेल्टर तो परचेस करना ही है. दैट्स व्हाई एट द लेवल ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट 0, माय एग्रीगेट डिमांड फंक्शन इज 100. व्हेन माय लेवल ऑफ इनकम इंक्रीजेस फ्रॉम 0 to 10, that means my aggregate demand will also increases from 100 to 360. So in this figure, that as the level of employment is increases, see till 60, if suppose it reaches to till 60, that means the aggregate demand in the economy will be 660. That means here they want to show us that as the level of income increases, my aggregate demand in the economy will also increases. This can be explained with the help of diagram also. See here they had mentioned it is a curve which expresses the relationship between the aggregate demand price and the employment. As on the x-axis we had taken the employment, and on the y-axis we had taken the see here on the x-axis we had taken the employment, on the y-axis we had taken the aggregate demand, expected receipts or aggregate demand function. So in this case as my employment is 0, see here when my employment is 0, that means my aggregate demand function will be 100. That means at this point it is not started from the 0, it is started from the upper part of the y-axis. That means this indicates that when my employment is 0, when my income is 0, that means the people will buy products in the economy for the necessity for their consumption purpose, that is for the necessity products for the living purpose. That means without this purchasing, without the necessity products, it is not possible to live in the economy. So as my employment increases, see from x-axis if you will see, as my employment increases, my aggregate demand function will also increases, and this shows a direct relationship between the level of employment and the expected receipts, that is aggregate demand function. As the level of employment increases, my aggregate demand will also increases. Next part here we'll study about the aggregate supply. Aggregate supply, this is the part of producer part. Why? It refers to the amount of money which all the producers, see last time we had studied about the household. The household कितना spend करते हैं on the purchase of household products or the capital goods. Here we will study about the producers. Producers in this economy will spend on producing goods and services at the given level of employment. That means in the given level of employment in our economy, how much the producers will spend on the goods and services in a year. Okay, so here they had mentioned, see here in the next part, they had mentioned over here aggregate supply, that is the sum total of all goods and services produced and supplied in the economy by all producers and seller at different price during a given period of time. के मतलब एक साल के अंदर कितना गुड्स और सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस हुआ हमारे इकोनॉमी में एंड हाउ मच दे हैड सप्लाइड इन द इकोनॉमी, दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ एग्रीगेट सप्लाई. Okay, so this is, it refers to the national product or the national income. This aggregate supply, that means if suppose अगर हमारे इकोनॉमी में more and more supply will takes place, aggregate supply will takes place, that means क्या हमारी इकोनॉमी में उतना ही उसका डिमांड क्रिएट होगा एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट मोर एंड मोर इनकम विल बी क्रिएटेड. अभी ये इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी कि कौन से सेक्टर से कितना गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज सप्लाई हो. देखो हियर इन अवर इकोनॉमी गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज विल बी प्रोड्यूस बाय डिफरेंट सेक्टर, चाहे वो एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर हो, चाहे वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर हो, चाहे वो टर्शरी सेक्टर हो. सो if you want to see the aggregate supply in our economy, there are various determinants like so that's why they had mentioned over here the formula O is equal to, O means aggregate supply, this is a function of natural resources, labor, capital and technology, and the dash, whatever they had mentioned the dash over here, see I will zoom that picture, that whatever the dash on the N, K and T, that indicates the constant, that should not be that should not be changed, that should be constant for a given period of time. And only labor is a perishable factor of production, that means once the period of labor, once the period of human being finished, that means it has to be perished from the economy. So that's why they had not mentioned the bar on the L, that is a labor, because that is a perishable factor of production. So in that in the end, natural resources, if suppose अगर हमारे इकोनॉमी में more and more natural resources will be available, अगर हमारे पास हमारी इकोनॉमी में बहुत अच्छे तरीके से नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज विल बी अवेलेबल, एज वी नो वी आर हैविंग अ लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज, बट अगर हमारी इकोनॉमी में उतना अच्छा अगर हमको रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल मिला, दैट मीन्स वी विल सप्लाई मोर एंड मोर इन द इकोनॉमी. दैट्स व्हाई अगर हम लोग अगर हमारी कंट्री को अगर कंसीडर करेंगे किसी आउट ऑफ कंट्री से, दैट मीन्स दे आर सप्लाइंग मोर. इससे चलो लेट्स टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ इंडिया एंड चाइना. We'll compare India with the China, because in China they are having a more and more resources. Because of that, and